So one of the hardest things for me when playing Rachmaninov is the different voices that he has. So for example here, this is a passage which is very difficult to play with a pedal, but also very difficult to play without the pedal. So this is what it sounds like with the pedal if I were not to think about any of the things. Like based on what I've practiced, like I can play it as I think instinctually that it should be, but you're gonna find a lot of mistakes. So there's a lot of harmonies, a lot of passing tones. It's very difficult to play with the pedal. You really have to choreograph how your foot is going to be behaving during all of these passages. Um, Before I even get to that, what I've been doing is I've just been trying to practice without the pedal. And trying to catch all of the places where my hand weight is off, like I'm um, where I'm applying way too much pressure and it's not blending well with the melody. There's a lot of inner voices also that I'm trying to catch, like this one. And in that passage, there is the one that's my left hand is playing. That's the inner voice. And playing them with two separate hands is really easy, but playing them with the same hand, you're basically holding some notes. So I'm holding this one, holding the other one, while the other fingers move, and I have to lift other notes that need to become disengaged. While at the same time keeping the upper melody, the first melody, while at the same time making it stand out over the lower melody. So I just try to force myself to exaggerate by the rotation. And then the other thing is that you have the way that the piano works, like the leverage. Sometimes these chords force you to be playing like up here where there's not much leverage. So you really have to be able to balance out. You have to make some negotiations, like how do I play up here, and then at what point do I shift my hand down here so that I can play this note comfortably, or so that I have more leverage over this note and I can play it more loudly. So that's kind of like the problem that I'm running into here. When I go into that next note, this note, if I play it up here, it's not as loud. It's hard to make this fourth finger play louder up here. But if I through rotation and through leverage, I can play this F note a little bit louder. It can stand out a little bit more. But see, I would have to do it this way somehow. So yeah, there's a lot of little things to. Oh, and then don't even get me started with the left hand. The left hand. the trick is to just keep your fingers really close to the keyboard. But there's also this like jumping back and forth where you have to match the tones and not make it sound like you jumped the keyboard. And then at the same time connect them so that there's not too much space between the sounds. So this is why it's important to practice with different hands because hands separately, because you're able to actually see what physically is happening on the keyboard between you and the keyboard. So right here, I can zoom in on this movement over here. And then whatever kind of visualization helps you, like sometimes I think of these like really weird images in my head that kind of like, or you know, that based on the way that my hand is moving, based on the gesture or whatever, like right now I'm thinking about like what it's like to pinch something, even though I'm not doing any pinching, but it's like that's the way that my mind is filing it in the back of my head for future use probably. But see, I've already got that kind of down. Like I've limited the space between this and this. And I've also kept the same level, the same volume. When normally when you have like a very drastic jump, the sudden impulse is to kind of like let the hand fall down hard on the keyboard, or like make it sounds abrupt like when you do a shift change. So this is kind of like you're working against yourself a lot of times when you're playing Rachmaninov. So anyway, this is